This is TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And the State of the Saints podcast is brought to you by Manscaped.com. Over 2 million men worldwide choose Manscaped for all their below-the-waist needs. For those that love the Lawnmower 3.0, well, I got news for you. The Manscaped engineering team has confirmed that they have successfully created the Lawnmower 4.0. The Lawnmower 4.0 gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. The new trimmer even allows you to customize your trim all through additional guards lengths, sizes 1 through 4. And looks-wise, it's sleek with a two-tone matte and gloss finish, even features a hot foil stamp, black chrome Manscaped logo. Show your more off loud and proud. Go to manscaped.com, use the promo code State of Saints, and you will save 20% off of the Lawnmower 4.0 as well as other Manscaped items. That's manscaped.com. Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is your truly TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And on this edition, this is Draft Talk Day number 3, which is part 3 of a series. Day 1, we talked about the NFL draft. We talked about like some key positions. We also Day 2, we talked about the mock draft. I told you who I feel the Saints were going to pick. And also now we're part 3. We're going to be talking about some Saints news that took place on Wednesday. It was some news that came out. Of course, Mickey Loomis had his pre-draft press conference. We're going to be talking a little bit about that. Of course, Sean Payton he's close to making a deal with Fox Sports. So we're going to be talking about that as well. But shouts out to everybody in the chat, those that came over, those that are here. Make sure that you hit that like button if you enjoy the content, the State of the Saints podcast. I would really appreciate that. But let's go ahead and go into it, man. Mickey Loomis had his pre-draft press conference, and he talked about certain subjects. The first subject, I have the clip. He talked a little bit about the trade and why he decided to make the trade with Philadelphia. Check it out.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we look at them, they look at them, and we just come to, an agreement. Look, for us, it's an opportunity to get, I think, another good player a year ahead of time for a value that we liked. That's, in a nutshell, what it was.
Ricky, who initiated that trade? Who made the first call?
Yeah, I think that was Howie. He was looking to, he had 3 first-round picks, and he was looking to shift one to next year.
And for you guys, shift them onto this year, is that just kind of, you like where your roster's at? You got some guys you like to build around now as opposed to maybe?
Yeah, again, I think it's an opportunity to get, a really good player a year before we would get him ordinarily, and I liked the value of what we gave up versus what we got.
Yeah, so he talked a little bit about the trade, and he also talked about possibly drafting a quarterback early.
It seems like the quarterback class is all over the board with how people have graded and ranked them. Just maybe overall, how do you all feel about the group?
Yeah, that's not an area I want to get into.
I'm going to say this, man. Can we please stop interviewing Mickey Loomis? I'm serious. Can we please stop interviewing Mickey Loomis? Mickey Loomis is a mastermind. He has mastered the art of saying a lot of stuff without saying anything at all. This guy is the king of empty calorie commentary. I'm telling you, empty calorie commentary is Mickey Loomis. I'm serious, man. The dude talked for 20 minutes. I never seen anything like it. This dude talked for 20 minutes, and I was just as lost as I was when I first clicked the video. I mean, it is incredible the way that this dude does this. But can we please stop talking to this guy? I mean, you get absolutely nothing out of him, and you can tell like he's only doing it because it's his obligation. I mean, look, it's just basically a waste of time. Mickey Loomis isn't going to tell you anything. He is a guy that is kind of closed-lipped. He knows the type of direction he wants to go in, and I respect that. I just feel like it's why are you wasting my time? Why are you wasting a media time? I mean, gas is almost $4 a gallon. It is $4 a gallon in some areas. Why you got these people driving down the airline only to talk to Mickey Loomis about absolutely nothing? All right, so let's kill that, okay? I'm so glad that you only talked to Mickey Loomis maybe 3 times throughout the entire course of a season because, my goodness. But the trade with the Philadelphia Eagles, I can understand. You know, that was a big move. He's talked about Howard Roseman. He got in contact with Mickey Loomis and the New Orleans Saints, willing to make a deal. And I like the fact that what Mickey Loomis said, one thing, he said you can get a player, a top player early than the next year. So you can be able to build your team a little bit early and prematurely than you would if you were to have that first round pick next year. You actually have 2 first round picks this year. So I do like that dynamic. I don't know anything that's going to happen. Like I said, I feel like the New Orleans Saints, if they were smart, they would keep both of these picks. I don't feel like it's absolutely necessary for you to move up and try to draft somebody early. Okay. I feel like you can get yourself quality at 16 and 19. This isn't like you're picking in the late 20s or something like that. You're picking in the teens. That's a nice spot. The 16 spot is a really good spot. The 19 spot is a good spot. So you can address some key positions early. Now, it also gives the Saints a possibility if they feel that they need to move up, maybe get an offensive lineman that's a top offensive lineman or something like that. It gives them leverage to do so, but it's not absolutely necessary. And you don't want to do that. And also, I think that what he said in the press conference, man, and it's hard dissecting this guy, but he's saying that you can start a year early, on building. So that seems like to me he's going to stay at 16 and 19. And as far as the quarterback position, I just think that he's probably tired of talking about it. He don't want to talk about the quarterback position. I think that whatever the Saints decide to do, they already know it, right? And the Saints don't want to give you anything. I mean, that's just the way that they work. You go back to Sean Payton. Sean Payton, he did not talk about injuries. If a guy was injured, if you didn't see a guy at practice, you're not going to get it from Sean Payton. You'll see the injury list come out, and then you have to make your own interpretation. But that's just the way that they roll. But I'm just sick and tired of watching Mickey Loomis press conferences. I'm just being dead serious. I like Mickey Loomis, but watching him talk to the media is a complete waste of time, and we just need to go ahead and kill that noise, all right? But as far as the NFL draft, I'm excited for the New Orleans Saints. This is the start of a new beginning. This is the start of a brand new season, a season of endless possibilities. We know that the Saints had a really good defense last season. If they didn't have some injuries, maybe the Saints would have been a playoff team. They were close to being a playoff team. They lived up to the end of their bargain by knocking off the Atlanta Falcons. If the 49ers would have lost to the Rams, and they should have, when you're down 17-3 late in the second half, close to the fourth quarter, you should lose a football game. But the Saints did what they needed to do, came up short. This is a team that is ready to win. If you put a few pieces in place, why can't the Saints be a Super Bowl contender? I don't feel like that's too far-fetched. You look around the NFC. I mean, who's knocking your socks off? Who's scaring the hell out of you in the NFC? Nobody to me. I just feel like the NFC is wide open. Now, if you just so happen to make the Super Bowl, going up against the AFC team would be tough, but you give the Saints a 16 and 19 pick. They do the right things with it, and also be able to draft quality players late in rounds, as they often show that they can. The Saints can be a playoff team. Hell, they can be a Super Bowl contender. Jameis Winston has great ability. Alvin Kamara has great ability. Mark Ingram, we know that he has great ability. Michael Thomas coming back. He's shown he has great ability, even though we haven't seen him play in a couple of years. And you get yourself a young wide receiver, a very hungry, physical offensive lineman, and you get yourself a couple players in the secondary to add to what you're already building on. Why can't the Saints be a Super Bowl contender? I don't get it. I get people talking about Sean Payton not being there, who we're about to talk about in a few minutes. And I can understand that people are still mourning the loss of the great quarterback, Drew Brees. But the Saints are a good football team. And just because they came up short, it does not mean that you need to break down and tear down the entire team. I mean, let's put this thing into perspective here, folks. All of the bad things that happened to this team last season, it is a miracle that they were there in the end. Okay, I mean, they got displaced early in the season. The Superdome caught on fire. You had injuries to almost every offensive lineman, for the exception of Cesar Ruiz. You lost your quarterback. Alvin Kamara missed some games. I mean, come on, man. Taysom Hill, even though he was playing out there with a bad foot and a bad finger. All these different things were happening around you, and yet this team still found a way to be there in the thick of things in the end. So imagine if you have the battle of attrition on your side. You don't lose too many players due to injury. Of course, injuries are going to happen. It's football. But if you don't lose key players, the Saints can be a Super Bowl contender. All right. And it all starts to me by building around Jameis Winston and making his offense be competitive. The biggest issue last season was the offense. The defense played spectacular. And we're hoping that they can replicate what they built on last season. And if they do, and you get yourself some offensive weapons, the Saints can be one of the best teams in the league. But before we talk about Sean Payton, I'm about to go to your comments. Thank you all for tuning in. Shouts out to everybody in the chat. Once again, if you're just joining us, we're talking about Mickey Loomis pre-draft press conference, and we're also going to be talking about Sean Payton. Please hit that like button if you enjoy the State of the Saints podcast content. Elite says OG, double OG, triple OG, Bishop Bowinkle. Keen Arthur says homie up there blowing hot air. Man, wasting everybody time. I mean, I just don't like that, man. Look, I know ain't nobody gonna really come out there and say it. And you know, it's nothing about the media. I don't want anybody to feel like I'm taking shots at the New Orleans Saints media when I said that I did. I mentioned it earlier on social media. You can follow me at TJ Jones 8 on Twitter. I said it earlier, but it wasn't a knock on the media. Like it's not about the media, you know, the questions that they were asking. I think the media does a good job asking questions to him. The thing about it is he just duck and dodge, man. This dude is the Floyd Mayweather of press conferences, man. He ducking and dodging. You can tell that he was a lawyer, you know, of the way that he deflects and just avoids questions and talks loud and says absolutely nothing, man. But like I said, I like Mickey Loomis. I mean, press conferences aren't for everybody, right? It's just not for everybody. I get it as a coach, as an executive, you have media obligations, but it's just not for everybody. And I honestly feel like you shouldn't have to sit up there and talk to anybody if that's just not your thing. Now, if something of some extreme importance comes out, I guess you can say this draft thing. I just feel like if you don't want to talk, you can always send somebody, you know, in as a representative or something like that to be able to give a little bit more transparency. But him being up there was just a waste of time, and I just felt bad for the media, man. I really did. I felt bad that they had to sit up there and talk to this guy for 19 minutes and 31 seconds, and nothing really happened. Casual says, very excited to know who we get in the draft. And when I get off work, the Pelicans play. Yeah, man, that's definitely gonna be torn between two lovers right there. You know, the love for the Pels and the love for the Saints. You know, I mean, but at the same time, I think that the Pelicans being in the playoffs, I mean, that's extremely important. Giving the Suns everything that they can ask for and everything that they can handle, they definitely deserve our support. So it's gonna be tough, man. But you still get opportunity to watch that. If you don't watch the entire NFL draft, we're definitely going to be here, live reaction show for the NFL draft. Once again, for the 5th year, we're going to be doing that. So let me take these headphones off. I feel like I'm talking too loud in my room. Wide receiver Chris Olave, number 16. In my mock draft, if you check it out, and I encourage everybody that has not, you can check out the video. It's probably like about 13 minutes. After this, or even while you're watching, if you want to click over and check out the video I did, the State of Saints podcast 2022 mock draft. I had Chris Olave coming to the Saints at 19, and the Saints drafting a guy like Charles Cross, at 16, an offensive lineman. So that was what I seen. But definitely Chris Olave deserves a spot on the New Orleans Saints team. He can bring a different dynamic, something that the Saints have been missing for years to this team. And I think that he'll be hitting the ground running right away, right? I mean, other wide receivers out there, guys like Garrett Wilson, I feel like going to be gone. Jameson Williams, even though I think that he's one of the best out of the group, he's probably going to start the season on a PUP list, right, on a PUP list. So you're going to be waiting for this guy to play, till about October. So if you want a guy that's hitting the ground running, a possible day one starter, be able to start the season, I think you need to go in the direction of Chris Olave. Jermaine says, hey, TJ, I hope it don't be another Ruiz pick in the first round. Oh, man, I hope not. I hope not, man. I look, Cesar Ruiz has not lived up to the expectation, which makes it even more frustrating. To me, when I seen it, of course, some of you that have been rocking with the State of the Saints podcast for a long time, you've seen my reaction. But I have absolutely no problem with the Saints drafting anybody out of a smaller school. But I needed to make some sense. Cesar Ruiz at that particular time did not make sense. It wasn't the fact that he was a bad player coming out of Michigan, because he wasn't, but it just didn't make sense for what the Saints actually needed. Last year, them drafting Payton Turner in the first round, the Saints didn't necessarily need a defensive end at that particular time. And as you've seen, Payton Turner didn't even play. He didn't even play. He only played like one game. And you had a whole bunch of guys like, Tano Passanio, Cam Jordan, Marcus Davenport, other guys that have been here, for the exception of Passanio, playing out there. You kind of forgot Payton Turner was on the team. I just don't want to see one of those situations. And I don't think the Saints need to go out here trying to get nobody like a defensive end. If you get yourself an interior lineman, the only exception I would make that would make some sense, if Jordan Davis is available and you draft him. I get it. Jordan Davis was one of the most dynamic, one of the most physical, one of the most freakish athletes in college football, being his size, 330, 340 pounds, moving like he does. I can understand that. But going out here getting a position that's just completely unnecessary, I mean, it's time out for that nonsense. Gundam. TJ, are you expecting us to move up to Seattle's 9 spot? Hearing a lot of teams have called them about that pick. Look, I just think that if you're trying to do that, you're just wasting time. The only reason I would see the Saints moving up to that 9 spot is to try to get a quarterback. And we all know how I feel about this. And we talked about this ad nauseum. Look, I don't think any one of these quarterbacks are world changers. I don't feel like any of these quarterbacks are going to be transcendent. I think that they probably end up being good, but are they going to be a face of a franchise? Are they going to be taking the league by storm? Probably not. Okay, there'd probably be an exception. Maybe one of those guys probably break through, but none of these guys I feel like are warranted you moving heaven and earth to get. All right. I mean, you got a quarterback in Jameis Winston, and I'm just so sick and tired of people, these pundits out here just throwing salt on this dude, man. Talking about what this dude did on another team, right? I mean, it's not about what he did with the Saints, it's about what he did in Tampa. And people are dismissing this man and talking like this dude can't play, and talk about how this dude can't be a good decision maker, and talk about how this dude can't be a leader. And it's like when they talk about him, it's as if, it's a no-brainer the Saints need a quarterback. You never seen Jameis Winston in another uniform. You never seen Jameis Winston with adequate coaches that can coach certain habits out of him to make him a better quarterback. You never seen that version of him. So how in the world can you sit up here and say that the Saints need to go out here and get another quarterback? And I just think that comes to, pure ignorance. That's what it's all up to. It's just ignorance. It's ignorance of people, one, that don't follow Saints football. They don't follow it. They don't know what's going on. They get their interns to burn the midnight oil. And we're going to be talking about the Saints tomorrow morning. So I need you to give me all the information that you can on the New Orleans Saints. And of course, they trying to, keep people interested. So they talk about some of the biggest positions that everybody talk about. We want to talk about quarterbacks. Nobody wants to talk about offensive line. People want to talk about wide receivers, and cornerbacks and stuff like that. So low-hanging fruit is Jameis Winston, because throughout Jameis Winston's career, he has been low-hanging fruit to the media. I don't think that the Saints need to go in a direction of a quarterback. I just think that you need to put weapons around this dude. And moving up to the number 9 spot would be a huge mistake. You can get 2 cornerstone players in the first round if you do your due diligence. And Jeff Ireland and his scout team, along with Mickey Loomis, do a really good job finding those diamonds in the rough. So don't be out here, don't go chasing quarterbacks, okay? Stick to the wide receivers and the offensive lines that you're used to, okay? Don't move up, man. It's not necessary. I rather manifest strength for you in meditation as well, suggest particular crystals. I don't know what we're talking about there. Love the setup, TJ. Thank you, Jerry. Man, it's just a work in progress, man. I got some other stuff coming through. So we're gonna be changing the layout pretty soon, man. But this is just a start right here. Probably, some of the stuff behind me probably gonna move around a little bit. The picture that y'all actually see was a portrait that I got, my wife, I was working an event in Conway, South Carolina, and the girl was like drawing caricatures. So that's a caricature of my wife, and the other side over there is a caricature of Paxton. So yeah, but it's gonna change around a little bit, man. I like to set up, and I got tired of like being behind a desk. I like to sit back, chill, make it a cool environment. So, this is my office, man. This is my space where I come and chill out, play the video game, watch TV. Like, so, I want to make it comfortable. And I want to make the podcast comfortable, because I'm not a sit behind the desk type guy in my actual life. So why should I sit behind the desk, do a show? You think Payton has the autonomy in his draft? No, I do not. I don't think he has absolutely nothing to do with this draft, and he shouldn't. You step down, you decide to walk away from coaching. You shouldn't have anything to do with it. Look, this is Dennis' team, and I just feel like anytime we try to throw Sean Payton in there, I feel like it's a little bit disrespectful to Dennis, because Dennis has got the opportunity, and I honestly. And Ramsey, I'm gonna just be real with you. Like, do you want Sean Payton to be around? I don't. I don't want Sean Payton to be around. I don't want Sean Payton involved in the decision-making process, because one day Sean Payton is going to coach another team, and then what you going to do, right? Who you going to be able to fall back on then? You got to be able to make these decisions right now, and it don't involve Sean Payton. When Sean Payton was coaching, I'm pretty sure he was heavily involved. And some of the decisions that the Saints made were influenced by him. But these decisions shouldn't be influenced by Sean Payton. They should be influenced by Dennis Allen, the coaching staff, Mickey Loomis, and his front office. That should be the only people involved. Sean Payton should be nowhere involved in the decision of who the Saints need to select in 2022 because he lost that right. Drew Brees couldn't get the ball down the field the last 2 years. Yeah, I mean, that's true. We know that Drew Brees had diminishing arm strength. I mean, the story has been said over and over again. We talked about this over and over again, but we know that Jameis doesn't have that issue. We know that Jameis can spin that rock. So, I mean, you can get yourself a player that can fly because Jameis can get him the ball. Lee says we were there due to Team Winston starting 5-2 compared to 2-5 before getting injured. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have even been talking playoffs. Exactly. And the thing about it is, you have people out here that talk about, Jameis Winston. He was, you look at his stats. He wasn't going to be able to keep up with that pace. Who cares, right? Who cares, man? If what he's putting up there, like, if it resorts, if the end result is winning, who cares? I don't care about, if the season would have went on instead of 300 yards, he would have averaged 290 yards. Who cares? See, man, we get wrapped up in these analytics, man. I mean, analytics don't always tell the story. What I care about is what a guy can do in crunch situations. What can a guy do to help the team win? And I don't go by all these stats because the year that Tampa won the Super Bowl with Tom Brady was leading the league in interceptions for at least, like 8 weeks, right? And then week 9 after that bye week, they just took off, right? Matthew Stafford was up there, in interceptions in the National Football League, but he ended up finding a way of making it to the Super Bowl. And don't say, Matthew Stafford, it wasn't for him. Nah, Matthew Stafford made some throws. So I don't care about stats. Stats don't always tell you the story. And I just think that people who try to wrap themselves in stats and say, well, the stats say this, so therefore, it don't always tell the whole story, man. Just because a guy may have like certain analytics don't always equate to success. It don't always mean that they're going to end up, being a Super Bowl champion. I want to say Patrick Mahomes threw for 5,000 yards one season. And what do you have, like 40 plus touchdowns or something like that? And they didn't make the Super Bowl then. They didn't make the Super Bowl. They lost to the New England Patriots. Controversial fashion, but still. I mean, it don't always equate to success. Big numbers don't always equate to success. And I don't feel like analytics always tell you the whole story. Give me a guy that can actually play. Give me a guy that can make the throws and win games when absolutely necessary. That's what I need. All that stuff about, what he did. All I know is, like you said, Elite, Jameis Winston, when he was starting, he was 5-2. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And I'm sick and tired of people using analytics and all these other things to try to demean and denounce this dude. This dude is a leader. His teammates like him. Fans are starting to, really embrace him. And I think that the dude really legitimately, sincerely cares about bringing success to New Orleans for the foreseeable future. And as long as that is his number one focus, he always has my support. Now, if Jameis Winston goes out there and he doesn't perform well, then you can go in another direction. But people are speculating and saying all these things like, oh man, he's not the guy. What makes you what makes you believe that he's not the guy based on what you seen him do in a Saints uniform? Too many people talking and thinking about Tampa and not about New Orleans. Dude hasn't been in Tampa in almost 3 years. Chris Olave, wide receiver 16, or offensive tackle Mississippi State at 19. Charles Cross is not going to last that long. I tell you that right now. And even with my mock draft, I mean, it's just basically wishful thinking. I think Charles Cross might not even be there by the time the Saints pick. That's just wishful thinking on my behalf. You can tell he's a lawyer. It's never a compliment. Exactly. You lie on your feet. TJ, do you think people who interview like Mickey are more annoying than shock jocks? Not really, because the thing about guys like this is, they, what I'm saying, they don't care about what you think about them. They don't care that you walk away and be like, man, this was a waste of time. But when it comes to shock jocks, they do care about that. They do care about analytics. They do care about numbers. They do care about your attention. So that makes them even more annoying. What I don't like about shock jocks is the fact that I feel like they do a disservice to the viewer, because the viewer is an afterthought. If you ever like got into communications, and I'll open the door for y'all for a few minutes. If you ever get into the world of broadcasting, media, whatever, I mean, you have these meetings, right? You have these meetings and you talk about ratings and you talk about sponsors. That's what they care about. They care about ratings and they care about sponsors. And these guys are willing to say or do anything in order to keep you captivated, to keep you on social media when videos come out. Why do you think guys like Stephen A. Smith, they'll take little snippets, 3-minute videos of them yelling and screaming about a controversial topic, because they want you to retweet it and share it and say, oh man, can you believe this clown? So that makes it more annoying, because it's not, to me, their real genuine emotion. Like Mickey Loomis, this is his real genuine self. Like, he don't like talking to the media, he don't like giving you anything. But these guys that are shock jocks, they just create narratives. And that's what I don't like. Like, it's almost like, you ever seen that movie, I Think I Love My Wife? And they had a part where Chris Rock wanted to go off with Kerry Washington to go out. She wanted him to go out with him. So he was like, how am I gonna go out? You're like making an excuse. So he ended up making an excuse with his wife, talk about how she didn't make how she made chicken every day. Just pick the argument, right? Just to be a troll, you know what I'm saying, just to get out of the house. These guys, they come up with these narratives and they say all these things just to get your attention, right? And they'll stop at nothing to get what they want. So that's the way I look at it, So I feel like shock jocks are the most annoying. And I just feel like they do more harm. They do more harm than good, because you got people out here right now that feel like they have to mimic their style and create their podcast and create their platform just like that, right? They feel like that's the wave. They feel like that is how they're going to be able to make it in the world of media. They feel like that's the way that their podcast is going to blow up. That's how they feel. They feel like the more controversial you are, the more clicks that you get. Man, look, people can smell a phony a mile away, but I digress. Yeah, shock jocks are the worst, man. I'm sorry. They are the absolute worst. Stroll down just a little bit. I did the PFL mock several times, and the players that I was able to draft on several occasions included defensive tackle Davis, Williams, Lucas, and Damian Pierce. I assume that you're referring to. Yeah, look, I mean, we don't know. Like, we don't know. And then on top of that, you got to take into account teams are going to be trading. People are going to be moving up to get certain players. You don't know what a team is going to do. So we only doing this based on the same draft positioning. And yes, there's an option for a trade. But when you're trading, you're basically just creating your own narrative, right? So you really don't know what direction that they're going to go in. You don't know what teams are thinking. Analysts, they can have an idea, but you don't know until that day actually comes. Mickey Loomis stated during the process that it has to be much quieter without him. Yeah, I seen that when he was talking about Payton, when it's talking about the process, talking about it was much quieter. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, you've been around 15, 16 years. And, I'm pretty sure you're going to be pretty vocal, because, you want to make sure that you bring the best players in there and also players that you can build around. Nope, that's why I worry about him being at the Pelicans game with DA. Saints will win the NFC South hands down. I don't know about hands down, but I hope so. I can't love anything having to do with the Cowboys. I'm ready for that. I draw a line if it happens. Otherwise, I wish Payton well. Yeah, that's true, man. I mean, look, I wish him well. I don't want to see him with the Cowboys, but I mean, wherever he goes, I mean, I hope that he does well. I prefer Olave over Williams. Yeah, I mean, look, if you want production right away, you go with Jameson. You go with Chris Olave. Now, Jameson Williams, I feel like is going to be an incredible wide receiver when he does get healthy. But I just think that it's the waiting game. And for me, I don't think the Saints can wait for a guy like that. The Saints need to hit the ground running quick. No, this is the only exception. And I'm going to look, if the Saints draft Jameson Williams at pick number 16, they're going after Jarvis Landry. That's the way I look at it, because there's absolutely no way that you should be able to start the season with what you have right now and Michael Thomas. I mean, it just wouldn't make much sense unless guys like Quan Baker that took a huge step forward, Esau Winston that took a huge step forward. You know, like, you don't start the season with what you have. If they draft Jameson Williams, that's telling me that they about to go out here and get themselves a veteran receiver, because they know what they have inside their locker room, and they seen what was on the field last season and their inability to be able to do anything that was effective at the wide receiver position. So if they get Jameson Williams, they're going out here signing a veteran wide receiver. Because you're not going to get Jameson Williams to at least October and November. So to me, that would say a lot with that decision. TJ, people are worried about the offense being explosive. They forget that for 3 years that Carmichael was over our play calling. We were top 2 in offense twice and top 3 once, averaging 460 yards a game. Yeah, I remember that. But I also remember the Saints had a hell of a lot of talent. I remember, when they had Jimmy Graham and Darren Sproles, and, you had Meacham coming back. You had Colston out there, man. You had talent. You had Drew Brees, who was out there pulling the trigger and still was able to get the ball down the field. I mean, so you had that going for you. I mean, look, it's going to take more than Pete Carmichael to be able to make this to make this offense average 460 yards with the trash they got. All right, that ain't it, bro. That ain't it. Okay, you're gonna have to overhaul this thing. It's time out for sugarcoating. You ain't about to average 460 yards of total offense with Traquan Smith, Deontay Hardy, and Marquez Callaway and Michael Thomas. That just ain't happening, man. And even if you do, man, why would you want to go into the season hoping that you can do something like that, man, when you can go out here and get yourself a wide receiver, a young guy that can give you that type of production? Hell, man, to me, and I no disrespect to any one of those guys, I wish all the success. But to me, I don't even think you solidified at the number 3 wide receiver position. I like Callaway. I think that he's talented. But if I can get somebody, that's a veteran wide receiver, somebody I know for a fact that can give me better production than them, I'm letting the rest of them dudes compete. I'm serious, man. Like, it's time out for that, man. Like, this isn't a Sean Payton led team. Like, Dennis Allen is a brand new coach, and I think that we need to evaluate him, accordingly. He ain't got no skins on the wall, and he needs to understand that. He needs to understand that he does not have to pull the leverage, the cachet of a Sean Payton. And you can't be around this thing lollygagging and pussyfooting around with guys that are undrafted free agents, and you're hoping and praying and wishing that they end up being something so your team can be productive. Nah, man, you got to put your players out there, guys that you feel like are going to make some plays and alleviate the pressure off a guy like Jameis. When he gets them the ball, He ain't got to worry about giving them the ball in stride. If you give them a ball, you know what I'm saying, and they getting jammed at the line of scrimmage, they still catching the ball and getting yards after the catch. You need guys that's going to be able to, make plays, right? That makes a quarterback's life much better. So I don't even think they set. Like, I think that mind frame that we have, like, oh man, this dude pretty good, man. He an undrafted free agent. We do a good job getting undrafted free agents. We do, but I would prefer to be able to get a guy that I know for a fact would give me solid production, and not a guy that, I don't know, we hoping and praying that he end up being something. I mean, that's just the way I roll. It's time out for all these projects. Let's get a sure thing. Tim, thank you very much for the $20. Says the host of the State of the Saints podcast. It's been a while, but here's to you and your family. I hope all is well. Did you hear Alvin's case has been moved to August? Not looking good. We low-key might need a running back. Well, Tim, yes, I did hear about that. And, man, shouts out to you. Yeah, it has been a while. Glad you're doing okay out there in Canada. But, yeah, man, it's not looking good. And I said this on the last show when I was doing the mock draft. I had the Saints in the third round getting Brian Robinson Jr. out of Alabama. 6'1", 225-pound running back, a guy who can run in between the tackles, a guy who kind of has that running style of a Mark Ingram. So Mark Ingram, who is 32 years old, he's still up there at age, but Mark Ingram is good in a screen game. Right, and he's good at running in between the tackles. And if you combine Brian Robinson along with Mark Ingram, I think you'll have yourself, a good 1-2 punch there. So if Alvin Kamara misses a certain amount of time, which most likely he will, you'll be able to have some level of production at the running back position, even if you're not a screen team or as screen oriented as you once were when he was there. So you definitely need to get yourself a running back in order to prepare for life, possibly without Alvin Kamara, which we know how special this guy is. So you're going to have to make up for his absence somehow. Chosen says, Steven, I used to try to play Max Kellerman like he was slow or didn't have sports outside of boxing. I grew up to like Max after I seen how Steven tried to out-talk the man and downplay his points. Yeah, Chosen. Look, man, Stephen A. Smith is a character. He charactered his way to about $10 million a year. And some people would be like, well, I'll do it too. But I don't know, man. Like, I just feel I just think that money isn't everything. If you're making $10 million, I feel like you can make $20 million being yourself. I'm just being real, because it's going to come a time when, even though you're making that money, I think that people think that just because you're making an amount of money, it just means that all your problems go away. There's nothing worse than not being yourself, living a lie, right? Might get a little personal. You ever wake up in the morning, did something you ain't, did the night before? Remember how bad you felt? You know what I'm saying? Like, looking at yourself in the mirror like, man, I could do better, right? I mean, it's like that. Right. So I don't know, man. Max Kellerman is a talented guy. He's a smart guy. I just think that the response on certain issues, especially those that address race, you had yourself, a lot of minorities, African Americans, people of color who siding with Max Kellerman, and they looked at Stephen A. Smith as a buck dasser, as a Uncle Tom, and I don't think that he liked that. I also don't think he liked the fact that Max was becoming more popular than him on a show that he felt like it was his. So he moved him off the show. That's the way I felt about it. I feel like it was a jealousy dynamic for, Stephen A. Smith when it comes to Max Kellerman. But you can't keep a good man down. Max Kellerman is doing a good job over there with Keyshawn Johnson and Jay Williams. So I'm happy for him. Tim also, thank you for the $5. Says also, who's still listening to Chosen Eli Apple diss track? I am. Yeah, man, that's definitely on repeat, man. That's definitely a repeat, man. Yeah, he killed that joint. They are coming out with a Madden movie about the video game. It's going to be on Paramount Plus. They are going to start filming it in May. It's going to come out sometime this year. Well, Brian, thank you for that report right there. That should be interesting. Madden has been a part of pop culture as long as I can remember, right? I mean, we grew up on Madden. To me, I just feel like Madden kind of the same game over and over again. And I wish that 2K could be able to make games as well, because I feel like Madden kind of shortchanges us because they're the only game in town. But John Madden football is synonymous with my generation. So, I mean, that would be interesting to watch. Tim says more likes, more likes. I agree. Look, if you like the commentary, if you like the content, please hit the like button, so we can, get more views and, get more attention on the podcast. TJ, I'm hearing Landry wants $15 million per year. That's, that's a no for me. Look, based on his injuries that he's had over the last couple of years in his production, I don't know, that might be wishful thinking, but I mean, if he asking for that type of money, hey, they got other wide receivers that are out here right now, and you could possibly make some trades. I heard that Darius Slayton was looking for a job, right? And I don't think you're gonna be paying him that much. Maybe you want to trade for him. If Robert Woods going for a 5th round pick, if I seen Stephon Gilmore go for a 6th round pick, you probably get Slayton for a 4th or 5th round. So if Jarvis Landry don't pan out, I mean, there's still ways around it. Also, there's Kadarius Toney out there. They said that he was, up on a trade block. So you know how dynamic he is. So, I mean, even though if, the Jarvis Landry thing don't work out, I mean, you still can find receivers that give you production. Dennis has been putting his stamp on the team. Dalton as backup was a great response to the quarterback problem we had last year. Look, Tuggraph, I mean, yeah, it's true. I mean, Andy Dalton, I mean, he's played in this league for a long time. He's won a lot of games. He's not a big game quarterback, in my opinion, but he has won games. He's been in big moments. So I do think that pays dividends. I think that you can win a few games with him. If he's backing up for a couple weeks, right? I think that you can win some games with him. So I do think that that's a good response. It's a step up, in my opinion, from Trevor Siemian, who only shows up in the 4th quarter. The NFL's garbage man, the king of garbage time, 4 minutes. I call him 4-minute Trevor, you know what I'm saying? Because in the last 4 minutes, he's going to channel his inner Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. But so, I do think that he's making his stamp. I think that it was solid that Marcus May, move, responding to the loss of Marcus Williams. I mean, yeah, he made some moves, bringing back PJ Williams, Dwayne Washington, who's really good on special teams. I thought that was a good move. Also bringing back James Hurst. So, I mean, yeah, there was some solid moves that were made. I think the Saints are who they always been, going out here getting guys that's not going to cost them an arm and a leg. So, yeah, he's really done a good job with that. Brian says, whatever we get in the draft at 16 and 19, we should be happy and give them a chance, because that's what Saints fans need to be, respectful to the new draft picks. Look, I don't think anybody has a problem with the draft picks. I don't have a problem with the draft picks. I don't know what these dudes going to end up doing. My biggest issue is them drafting guys that's not necessarily what you need, and guys that are not going to be able to make an immediate impact because you already got a guy at that position. I also get tired of projects. I get tired of watching guys who they get from these small schools, and it takes these guys 2 and 3 years to develop. When you can go out here and get a guy who has been on a big stage, who's came from a power conference school, there's always going to be outliers. There's always going to be guys that come from smaller schools and it can make an immediate impact. Khalil Mack, right? If you think about it, even with Aaron Donald, coming out of Pitt. I mean, there are guys that come from schools that's not really, household name type school, power conference, winning championships every year type schools, and they make an immediate impact. But dang, getting these guys coming from these small schools, it takes them 3 to 4 years to develop. And by the time they develop, they're demanding so much money on the open market, you can't pay them. I just feel like it's a waste of time. Look, if you hitting like you did in 2017, right? You get guys like a Lattimore, a Ramchick, Alvin Kamara, right? More times than not, your team is going to have success, which the Saints have had. 2018, we all know they should have been in a Super Bowl. If you keep on trying to get guys and get projects, and this guy has a long wingspan. This guy gets off the line quick. Well, can you imagine what he can be in 2 and 3 years? You don't have 2 and 3 years. This is a win now league. Why do you think you have guys out there that they're trying to do everything that they possibly can to bring championships? That's why Tampa went out there and got Tom Brady. That's why the Denver Broncos went out there and got Russell Wilson. That's why the Rams went out there and got Matthew Stafford. Nobody is trying to sit around here deal with projects. This is a win now league because people don't have the patience of Job like they did in the 70s and 80s, where they will allow a coach to fall on his face over and over again and still keep the faith and keep hoping that coach and that team. People want to win right now. And if you want to win right now, you got to go out here and get a sure thing, especially in the first round. Now, you can dibble and dabble in a fourth and a fifth round. Those guys right there, they might make your team. They might be on special teams. They might end up being on the practice squad or whatever. But the first 3 rounds, these need to be guys that can possibly be starters on your team. And in the first round, they definitely need to be starters. If they not giving you that, if they're not going to be on the field at least 70% of the time, then I don't feel like they need to be a first round pick. It's just as simple as that, man. I am tired of watching this. I've been watching the Saints for 35 years of my life, and I am sick and tired of watching these projects. And I know these guys are going to end up being good. We've seen it with Trey Hendrickson. We're starting to see it with Davenport. Hopefully we see it with Payton Turner. But damn, can we get a guy from, that was a top guy, a guy that we seen playing a Cotton Bowl, a guy that we seen playing a Sugar Bowl, a national championship, play it out there, in Pasadena in a Rose Bowl. Can we get a guy like that? Can we get a guy that we don't have to use Wikipedia to find out who the hell he is and what he did in college? Seriously. I mean, that's all I'm asking for. I mean, I don't think I'm asking for too much, man. If I'm asking for too much, somebody please tell me, but be real. I'm tired of watching this. Your man assaulted charges in Nevada. Assault charges in Nevada is like 6 months in jail minimum, according to Google. Tim, look, there's no way Alvin Kamara going to jail. I don't see that. Alvin Kamara is not going to jail. I don't see that possibly happen. I see him doing some community service, paying a hefty fine. The dude didn't even show up to court last time. He was overseas with his girlfriend, right? So he's going to have the best lawyers. Those lawyers are going to make sure that he doesn't have to spend a day in jail. Probably going to have to pay some money, to the plaintiff, of course, but that's just the price you pay, man. When you're a high-profile athlete, there's always going to be guys that are out here trying to get a bag, trying to get under your skin to a point where you get out of your position in order to make things accommodating for them. We seen the same thing last week with Mike Tyson, right? Dude badgering Mike Tyson on a plane till Mike Tyson turned around, put them paws on that boy, and now all of a sudden his friend, Mike Tyson hit my friend. He ain't do nothing. I mean, come on, man. We all know how it goes, right? We all know how it goes. So you got to be a little bit smarter. You got to be able to show a little bit of restraint, and you can't be arrogant with it either, man. You can't be arrogant with it. Sometimes these guys, and I'm not saying this is Alvin, but sometimes these guys can get a little success. They get a little arrogant, man. They feel like the world revolves around them, and sometimes they can be a little disrespectful, to folks, or at least they feel. So You got to be able to be smarter than that. First take has been trash since Mac left, ironically. I don't even pay attention to them shows, man. I don't watch that. I don't watch it. I don't watch shows where individuals aren't being them genuine when they're not being their genuine self. When Nick Wright can go on an interview and say that I embrace the role of a troll or a shock jock, that's what he said. He said, I take pride in being a shock jock. I'm like, that's all you need to know right there. When you have guys like that. I mean, a bunch of guys that just will say and do anything to keep a job. And when those managers from upstairs call them in the office and say that those ratings are down last quarter, these guys are trying to keep work. So more power to them, man. I just can't roll with that. I just can't. Like I can play the role. I really could, folks. I can be that guy. I can be that person. Like the people that you see on TV, I can be that guy. But I choose not to. Because I'd rather just be my genuine, true self. And like I said earlier, my biggest issue is you have individuals out there like on social media that have these platforms, these podcasts, and feel like they have to be Skip Bayless. They have to be Nick Wright. They got to be Stephen A. Smith in order for anybody to actually care about what they think. And I feel bad for those individuals because now they're creating a new generation of trolls, right? Guys that they feel like are going to be, to get where they need to be. I got to piss everybody off. Hopefully Saints don't fumble on these picks. Well, I don't think so, man, because they got to really pay attention to them. 71 in the chat, hit that like. Yeah, please do. I'm late. What the snake did now? What snake we talking about here? What snake we talking about? You got my like, bro. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. I appreciate that. But let's go ahead and talk about Sean Payton, man. Some of you probably already know already. According to sources, Sean Payton is close to making a deal with Fox Sports. He'll be a part of the Fox Sports team. NFL on Fox, along with Howie Long and Jimmy Johnson and Michael Strahan. Look, I think that would be a really good spot for him, especially like, Jimmy Johnson has been on and off, on the show. He's come on and then, you probably won't see him. I think that Sean Payton, that'll be a good spot for him. I think that would be a good, learning spot for him. You got a bunch of guys around you that can help you, develop and become a better personality. I think that this would be a good move for him. And also, it's a good, stop, right? We seen Rob Gronkowski actually do this the year that he decided to retire, and we know that Sean Payton is going to go back into coaching. So I just feel like this would be a good spot. And it's really no surprise to me that he chose Fox over other networks, especially his relationship with Jay Glazer, who works with Fox, friends with Michael Strahan. So that Jay Glazer probably put a good word in for him in order for him to actually be able to get this opportunity. I don't know how Sean Payton will be as an analyst. I don't know. Sean Payton, for the last 16 years, he's a guy who, I never really looked at him as an analyst. He's a guy that I feel like is a strategic guy. I feel like he's a good coach. Some of his press conferences, I'm just wondering, like, how is that going to transition when it comes to him actually talking about somebody? And I'm always interested to, at guys who always said the right things, did the right things, how that's going to translate to commentary, because that's one of the biggest issues I feel like what Drew Brees has as a commentator. Like Drew Brees, to me, doesn't really, really criticize anybody or really talks that much about, things that may go bad. He really doesn't expound on it or really call it out. So be interesting to see how Sean Payton is going to approach this commentary life. I know that he wants to do it. We know that he said he had aspirations to do it. And I just think that he's going to embrace it because Sean Payton is a guy who is a competitor. He likes to be challenged. And I think that he's going to do everything he possibly can to be really good at it. And who knows? if he becomes real good at it, he might want to stay in doing it longer. I highly doubt that, but who knows, man. But congratulations to Sean Payton if this is true. If he does sign with Fox, be interested to see two of the greatest members of the Saints organization, Drew Brees and Sean Payton, on television every single week. Sometimes, it's good to see guys, doing other things, and, you're going to support them. So congratulations to Sean Payton. Hopefully he does a really good job. Do you think this is the end of Alvin Kamara's career because he got himself in trouble and he's going to court? This will be the last time we see him on a football field. No, I do not. Absolutely not. Alvin Kamara isn't going anywhere. He probably end up, getting suspended. But this gonna sound, this may be a little graphic, but if guys can get rape charges, if guys can get domestic violence charges, if guys can get drug charges, I think that Alvin Kamara will be fine. If those guys are still playing in the National Football League, I think that he will be fine. The fact that he just put some paws on somebody. Now, they did beat that guy up pretty bad, but man, all the things that's going on over the years in the National Football League, I think he's going to be playing sooner rather than later. Kenny Pickett going to the Panthers. Yeah, I agree with that. They like him. And I'm pretty sure that's the route they're going to go. T.O. really ticked Stephen A. off with his comment on live TV. Yeah, I remember that. But, I mean, Stephen A. is a troll. I mean, anybody that set up what they going to say, I just feel like that's like so weak. Those are two things that really bother me. When people set up they commentary, and when people like start to like brag on themselves, like, man, I got some real heat that I'm about to let y'all know about. Man, y'all ain't gonna like me after this show. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, let the audience be the judge of that. Like, I just feel like it's not genuine. If I'm talking, like, anybody that been following the State of Saints podcast, I don't have a script. Y'all get my real raw emotions, right? A person should get your real raw emotions, right? I feel like if I go on here and tell y'all, man, I'm about to go off today, I just feel like I'm not giving y'all my real genuine self, because I'm already prepared to give you all, you know what I'm saying, something, right? And it feels like it would be scripted or animated. So anybody that does that, man, I mean, I just, it's just not real anyway, right? When people start to like pat themselves on the back or, set people up, to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Like, that's whack, man. But Stephen A. Smith to me is a character, and honestly, according to, some people that, I interact with, they don't like him. I'm talking about like prominent, news people. They don't like him. Like people I've talked to, people I interact with behind the scenes, not a fan of him. Not a fan of his type of journalism at all. Or any of that shock jock journalism. Imagine being Dennis Allen last year, coaching the defense and watching the quarterback play. I'm sure he was frustrated. Well, I will say this, and I've said this before. It was about time for the defense to step up and help the offense, because we know for years the offense has been carrying the defense. So I don't feel bad for him. It's just frustrating to watch the offense be that bad. But I don't feel bad for the defense because, I mean, we know them boys can stop traffic with a stop sign for years. You guys getting Trevor Penning, Trevor Penn as a wide receiver quarterback. Man, Carolina getting a quarterback. Sam Darnold, I don't care how many press conferences and interviews he goes on to talk about how good he is. He is not the answer. You had 2 opportunities. You played for the Jets. We'll give you a pass. And you had a shot to be the starting quarterback in Carolina. you played so awful and was so average that they decided to go get a guy in Cam Newton who was clearly kind of past his prime. So look, you got to be smarter than this. They're going to draft a quarterback. If Carolina doesn't, I'll be highly surprised. Shout out to the Saints, though. Carolina better than the Saints. No, they're not. If we don't pick the best wide receiver available, I'm going to be mad. Well, I think that wide receiver needs to be somewhere in the conversation. No one understood why we drafted Ryan Ram because we had Armstead, Zach Strief, but that worked out. Bryant, there's a difference, all right? And I want you to understand this. Zach Strief was about to retire. Zach Strief, when Ryan Ramczyk was drafted, the Saints knew that Zach Strief was going to retire, right? They brought him in almost as the guy that's going to replace the guy. If you notice, Zach Strief retired the next year. Zach Strief was, on his way out. You know what I'm saying? So that's understood. But when you get a guy like, Cesar Ruiz, I just feel like that wasn't necessary. I mean, let's just be real about this. As of today, some people may not, like the guy because of his performance with the Minnesota Vikings in the wild card, but Larry Wolford was better than him. Like Larry Wolford was a Pro Bowler. And so who would you rather have? Would you rather have Cesar Ruiz or would you have Larry Wolford? I'd rather have Larry Wolford. Hindsight is 20/20, of course, but Zach Strief was on his way out. So I understood the Ryan Ramczyk pickup. That made sense to me. I wasn't like, man, why they got Ryan Ramczyk? First off, anytime you get offensive line for Wisconsin, you ain't never gonna have no problem with me. I don't care where you draft them at. Offensive line and Wisconsin just go hand in hand, right? You're gonna get yourself a solid offensive lineman if you went to Wisconsin because they run the hell out of football out there. So you ain't never gonna have no problem. If a person has a problem with offensive lineman coming out of Wisconsin, I question your football knowledge. But I can understand why the Saints did that. I don't understand why they would draft a guy like Payton Turner first round. Cam Jordan showed he still had a lot left in the tank. Davenport, I guess you can say, okay, Davenport has a history of injuries. Maybe that was why, but you needed a cornerback more than you needed a defensive end. Luckily for the New Orleans Saints, Paulson Adebo came to him in the third round, and he has exceeded expectations. I just want to know what y'all playing. I don't know. As long as the wide receiver and offensive lineman is concerned, Carolina Panthers better than the Saints. I'm okay with it. I don't care what the rest of it is. Paulson Adebo turned out okay for the first year, except for that game against Atlanta. That was a rough one. Well, it was early in a season, but that second game, I mean, you can argue say he was one of the best secondary players out there, right? So, look, dude was a rookie. And I said that before. Like, rookies are going to go through growing pains. But one thing that I liked about Paulson Adebo, he never wavered. And he had such an amazing confidence in himself. And, every time you'll see him get beat on a play, he never got beat the same way. That dude going to be special. Like, as long as he stay healthy, he going to be special. Because he has great ball skills. He catches like a wide receiver. Like that one pass, man, he almost caught over his head for an interception. And that, also that other interception that he caught me in spectacular fashion. I mean, who wouldn't be excited about this dude? The only reason why Paulson Adebo was there for the Saints in the third round is because he sat out during that COVID year and his draft stock fell. But according to a lot of those, scouts out there, he was one of the best, if not the best corner coming out of that draft class. So the Saints found the diamond in the rough, and he's living up to it, man. He's living up to those expectations. You guys might need to get a quarterback or a running back. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we talked about that before, man, but it's not nothing that's just completely imperative right now. Bro, if we get Olave and Penny, we're going to the Super Bowl and also sign Jarvis. Well, I think that you have a real strong chance of making the Super Bowl. I think you have a strong chance, especially being in a weak NFC where you really don't have too many, stars, at the quarterback position. Not as many as you once did. I want Cross and Olave in the first. Yeah, look, Charles Cross might be a stretch. You have a chance of getting Olave if some things fall in your favor. I really think all of the top left tackles will be gone by the time we get to the draft. Well, I don't know, man. Being in position between pick number 16 and 19, I think that's a really good spot. TJ, what do you think is the real reason Sean left us? I think he was just ready for a new challenge. And also, I just think he was ready for a new challenge because I don't want to say, I think some people would say, well, he left because it seemed like the ship was sinking. Was the ship really sinking? The defense probably played better than we've seen them play in the last decade. You had some injuries. It wasn't like your team was just bad. I just think that he wanted to take on a new challenge. I mean, you're in the same place for 16 years. I mean, he just wanted to move on. I don't think it had anything to do with the front office. I mean, we all know that Sean Payton has so much cachet. I mean, dude basically didn't do what he wanted. So I don't think it had anything to do with that. I just think that he wanted to take on a new challenge, and there's nothing wrong with it. So I just think it didn't work out because, Brian Flores blew the whistle on him, but I really, I know he was going to go to the Dolphins. I know he was going to go to the Dolphins. So just think he wanted a new challenge, Keen Arthur. I'm going to stroll down a little bit. We're going to take a few more and then get up out of here. TJ, what do you think about Terrell Owens coming back to the National Football League and playing for the New Orleans Saints for a 2-year contract, in your opinion, sir? Man, we haven't heard from him in a long time, but I feel like this is suffice.
Hell no, to the no, hell to the no.
Nah, bro, that ain't it, man. Terrell Owens. Man, Terrell Owens about 50 out there, okay? Look, I know he playing in some type of indoor league or something like that right now. I get it, right? Look, he's probably the most physically gifted 50-year-old man I've ever seen in my entire life. But T.O.'s best days are behind him. The National Football League has forgot about him. Time for him to move on, man. That ain't it. You get yourself a lot of young quality players in the draft, okay? You can get yourself some young, vibrant guys at the wide receiver position. That ain't it. That ain't it, man. T.O., nah. Good to see him out there, though. I like Kenyon Green, who played college ball alongside McCoy. Yeah, I like Green, too. I think, good, solid guy. Probably going to be like, I don't know. He probably going to be one of those guys that's probably get drafted a little bit late. Paulson Adebo wouldn't have been available for the Saints if he played a full season. Absolutely not. Probably would have been one of the top. He probably would have been up there with J.C. Horn, to be honest with you. One-handed catch into Adebo. Saints struck gold with Adebo. I agree. I just think that people need to pump their brakes about how they evaluate the cornerback position. Like, we evaluate the cornerback position every time the ball go up, and if a wide receiver catch the ball over him, he sucked. Like, wide receivers get paid a lot of money to catch the ball too, man. But it's like our evaluations of cornerbacks are like so bipolar, right? We love them 1 minute, we love them on first down, hate them on second down, love them on third down. Like, it's amazing, man. I don't think that a couple plays where a quarterback puts the ball where it needs to be and he catches the ball over a cornerback, that just that just means that the guy's not good. Sometimes guys have bad games. I don't know if you touched on this, but how do you feel about Hill taking 15 snaps at quarterback? Once again,
Hell no, to the no, 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 hell to the no.
Man, it's time to move on from the Taysom Hill experience, okay? Taysom Hill had the opportunity to be a quarterback. He played 4 games when Drew Brees went down with the ribs. He finished out the season when Jameis, got hurt. Trevor Siemian when living up to, to the hype. You had your opportunities, okay? Anybody that's out here talking about Taysom Hill being a quarterback, if you do this for Taysom, it's over. It's over, folks. It is over. I mean, if you want to get him in there, throw the football a couple of times and some gimmick plays, maybe 3, you know what I'm saying, maybe 2, 3 times, fine. But nah, man, 10, 15 times, no. And let's just be real about this. The reason why Taysom was throwing the ball 10 and 15 times when Drew was there, because Drew couldn't get the ball down the field. And in some cases, Taysom can't even get the ball down the field. Okay, so no, man. You had the conversation with him, said that you probably going to have him, doing some H-back stuff, tight end. You've been in the National Football League. You're about 32 years old or will be 32 years old at the start of the season. Go ahead and embrace being that slash role. You'll stay in the league much longer, and you'll get opportunity to play. Right? If you try to keep on following this quarterback dream, you're going to find yourself on the outside looking in or probably holding a clipboard. I mean, I just think that it's over, and it should be. And there's no knock on Taysom Hill. I think that Taysom Hill is an incredible athlete, but it's over with, man. I'm tired of all the gimmicks, okay? All that gimmicky stuff, man, it's time out for that stuff. Give me a guy that can be under center, and the team is going to win and lose based on the performance of that quarterback. I mean, it's over with, man. He had his chance. It'll be one, like, there's not a Taysom Hill supporter out there that can possibly say that the Saints didn't give Taysom Hill enough chances to prove that he can be a starting quarterback in the league. They've gave him several chances. And every time, he has shown like that he ain't it. So I don't understand what, anybody is asking for. No, I think that's over with, man. It's over with. The experiment is over. Full-time tight end Taysom. Taysom needs to focus on trying to become the top 15 tight end and give up on that quarterback. I agree. Kelvin, I agree. I definitely agree. Taysom can't get it downfield without getting it accepted. The only reason I said Terrell Owens so he can help the younger guys. I didn't mean playing the game. What I meant was being a coach or a mentor in the National Football League for our team. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know how Taysom Hill, Terrell Owens is as a coach. I do know that great players don't always become great coaches. Sometimes you might have, some guys out there that end up being, good coaches and stuff coming from being great players. Jerry West was a really good coach. I mean, Pat Riley won a championship with the Knicks. He was a really good coach. Also a really good player as well. So you have those, those outliers, but I just think that Terrell Owens is just, I don't know how he is as a coach, but if he plays the way, if he coaches the way that he played, he might not be a good coach. It's very rare that you have a guy, and I am going to pat my alma mater on the back. Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders was arguably the greatest cornerback of all time. To me, he was the greatest cornerback of all time. And now he's coaching a team, and he's pretty good at it. So it's very rare that you get a guy of that caliber being that great, end up being able to lead men. Because there's, but I don't know. I have to see it. I never seen him coach, so I couldn't tell you. That. Trying to read one more, and then we're gonna get up out of here. Oh yeah, I think I pretty much read everything else. I see a couple people. I guess Hoodie Jube that came through. So what's going on, Hoodie Jube, man? Appreciate you for being here. I don't know I think you just wrapped up your show, if I'm not mistaken. And shouts out to you, man. Hoodie Jube, drove 2 hours, man, 2 hours to deliver a gift to CT Crusher, which is absolutely incredible, man. Like that just shows you how much he cares, about the people that support him. He holds down those individuals. He's brought fans to games, and he's really showed some love, man, to the community. So shouts out to him, man. It's being very interactive, and that's what it's all about, man. So shouts out to him, man. Keep up that good work, bro. Keep up that good work. Try when you get done with your podcast, come slide over to mine and come do a final mock draft with me. Hoodie, I appreciate that, man. But man, it is almost 1:00 where I'm at. If you do, I don't know if you're doing a live draft tomorrow. If you're doing it tomorrow, then I'll come over there tomorrow. If you're doing something live tomorrow, I definitely come over there. And also, man, I'm gonna be doing a live draft reaction here. So if you want to, you can slide over here as well. But yeah, man, definitely. I definitely want to do that, man. Definitely want to get on your show and talk a little bit about Saints football. But I don't know if you mentioned this or not. I don't know if you're doing a live draft reaction, but if you are doing one, just let me know, and I'll come over there, and talk a little bit with you. And like I said, you can come over here because we'll be doing this live draft reaction show. This will be the 5th year that we're actually doing this. It's a little bit of a different format, but we're going to be doing live draft reactions. Of course, we're going to be having real reactions of the Saints draft picks, regardless to what happens. It's going to be right here on the State of the Saints podcast YouTube channel, across other platforms as well. Appreciate everybody for chiming in. Ask everybody hit that like button. Show support of the State of the Saints podcast. Also, make sure that you go over to Hoodie Jube's channel as well. YouTube.com, search Hoodie Jube. Subscribe to his channel as well. And also, man, just support the Saints content. But definitely, man, I definitely want to get over there. Talk a little bit of Saints football with you. Want to, be able to, want to be able to do that, man. I feel, bad sometimes. I mean, you invite me over, and time don't be right at times, or I have something going on. But I definitely want to get over there and talk with you, man. Panthers better than the Saints because he doesn't ghost unlike Donald. I'm messing. Man, I don't think he really truly believes the Panthers are better than the Saints. I mean, I stay in South Carolina, 3 hours from Charlotte, and even the biggest Carolina Panther fan I've seen, when I say I talk about the Saints, they be like, "Oh, all right." That's when you got somebody. When they be like, "Who your favorite team is?" and you tell them like the Saints. "Oh, all right." That's how you know. That's how you know, like, they ain't got nothing to say. But I will say Carolina has had success, man. They're not like, bottom feed them losers who feel like just because, they got a couple of years of prosperity, that's supposed to just completely absolve them of the suck they've been for the last decade, like the Bucks. But I mean, Carolina, they've been putting in that work. TJ, thanks for always keeping it real. Who that? Neil, appreciate it, man. Appreciate that. Keynote says it's hard to send you a t-shirt with no size place or place to send it. Man, like I said, man, I apologize for this, man. I'll make sure I send you that the information. I'll make sure I send it to you, King Arthur, on I'll DM you. I'll DM you that information. Just feel weird, man, like, not that people like want to send stuff. Man, it just feel weird, man, because I'm just always like grateful, just you all just being here. It's always humbling, like when people, like send like different emails and they send letters and stuff like that about how much they love the show and how much it means to them, and how the show inspires people to do podcasts and start things of their own. I mean, like I said, man, I don't know. It's just weird, man. I'm just an everyday guy, just like everybody else, and I just love sports and I love my hometown team. But thank you, man. I'll make sure I send that information over to you. What time are you going live tomorrow, TJ? I'm gonna try to see if I can go as soon as the draft starts. Now, don't hold me to that because my wife gets off around 8 p.m. Eastern time, and that's around the time the draft starts. And of course, for those that don't know, my wife is a nurse, and she's not going to get out at 8 o'clock all the time, right? Because you still got to see patients, and she still got to do different things that to wrap up her day. And of course, I have Paxton here, so if I do, then more than likely, it have to be based around Paxton and how he's doing and how much attention he wants from me. But if not, I make sure that I get on as soon as possible. But I'm gonna try to start it as soon as the draft starts. So it might be like one of them episodes where you may not see me on camera to start, and then I'll end up like being on camera a little bit later on, probably once my wife get here. But we're gonna figure out something, man. We gonna figure out something. We're gonna make it work. But I will say this, man. I love it, but I'm a father first. So, and we all know if you ever have a 2-year-old, he's at that stage where he wants all your attention, and those temper tantrums starting to show up. Damn right, TJ. The first episode I watched was the AJ Green episode. Man, got dog, casual. That was a long time. That was like one of the first like 15, 20 episodes I did. So thank you, man. Humble man deserves some love too. I appreciate it, man. I just don't. It's just weird. Like it's just weird to me, man. Like when I see people out in the street or something like that, and they recognize me from this podcast. I don't know. It's just weird. I just love what I do, man. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to everybody, man. Grateful to anybody that ever clicked on this YouTube channel or watched anything that I did, because you don't have to. Right? You don't have to. So really do appreciate it. But thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Podcast brought to you by Manscaped.com. Use the promo code State of Saints. Save 20% off of your purchase. Shouts out to Manscaped. Still doing great things. Still going strong with the podcast. Also, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com. Search The State of the Saints podcast. Facebook.com. Search The State of the Saints podcast. There's a new State of the Saints podcast Facebook page, okay? There's a new page that's available right now. I still interact on the old page, but somebody hacked into my old account that's attached to my old profile, which I lost, unfortunately. So I had to restart the State of the Saints podcast page all over again. All right, so you can check that out. Make sure that you join that new page. Also, the State of the Saints podcast clips is available on YouTube. So some people don't want to watch an hour and 28-minute show. So what I did was I'm going to take clips from each episode, and I'm going to put it on that page. So it's going to be about 5 to 10 minute clips, probably even less than that at times. So make sure you subscribe to the State of the Saints podcast clips. All right, that's the new page available. Previous episodes available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and also a part of the Pigskin Podcast Network. Till next time, all I got to say is